Hi and welcome to this brand new tutorial about JavaScript, and in this course we're going to cover more advanced and intermediate level topics in this popular programming language, meaning that we're going to cover topics like DOM, BOM, async functions or callbacks, and generally all of the useful tools in JavaScript that we can use and work with them for creating more real-world applications in this popular programming language. So the first topic that we're going to work on is DOM and BOM. These two are very useful for creating most of the projects in JavaScript. So let's see what they are. DOM stands for Document Object Model, and it is generally an API that allows developers to access and manipulate HTML documents. It is also a platform and language-independent interface that allows programs to dynamically access and update content, structure, and style. So generally, DOM is going to allow you to access some of the HTML documents, HTML tags, or CSS tags. You can also not only access them, you can also manipulate them or create them or delete them. So DOM allows you to create a bridge between JavaScript and HTML and also CSS, meaning that you can manage everything on your document related to your HTML codes with JavaScript. BOM, or Browser Object Model, is an API that provides web browsers with information about window, current URL, or other properties. It also provides methods for manipulating browser window, opening the new window, or changing the size of the browser window. So what BOM does is nearly the same as DOM, but here it is for the browser window and properties of the browser. So generally, BOM and DOM are two separate APIs that work together, and they provide developers with a comprehensive set of tools for creating dynamic web applications. Now that we know what DOM and BOM are, let's see how they work inside of our code. So first of all, we're going to work completely about what DOM is and how it works, and then we're going to go after the BOM. So let's create a directory for DOM. I'm going to call this DOM tutorial, and then cd to DOM tut. And now what I'm going to do is to create a file called index.html in order to write all of our code inside of it, and then run code space dot in order to open up a new window for me, so that I can then run my project inside of it. So let me close up all of this, and there we go. So right now let me open a new terminal here, and let's open the file index.html. So now I'm gonna write some of the HTML tags right over here, for example HTML, and also the body. So body here. So we're familiar with what DOM is from the previous course, but here we're going to start from the very beginning if you haven't seen that part, or for you in order to remember it. So here, for example, we have a p tag right over here instead of our HTML code. And so I'm going to close it this way. And then here it's empty, but so let me merge these two together. And here we can give it an ID. So we can call the ID something like my ID. And then here we're going to manipulate or add something to this p tag right over here. In order to do that, instead of a script, which is our JavaScript code, we're going to write document dot get elements by ID, So as you can see, we have different get elements. One of them is class, one of them is name, one of them is tag name, and as you can see, we have all of these different ways which we can get the HTML documents. But here we're going to use the ID. So I'm gonna here write my ID. This is the name of the ID of the tag, and then I'm gonna run inner HTML. So this way we're going to manipulate the inner HTML, or what we're going to write inside of the p tag, which is empty right now. So here you can write hello world and then save this. So now let's run this with the live server. So open it with the live server, and as you can see here, okay, let's run this again and let's see what the problem is here. So let's inspect the elements and here move over to the console. So this page seems to have a problem. Document get element, it's not a function. So I think I've written this a bit wrong. Okay, we don't have the ID right over here. Okay, so nothing really important. Let's save this and we'll be able to see the update right over here. Okay, as you can see we have hello world. So here we go. We can also have something written right over here. So for example, I can say this is a tag and exclamation mark. Let's save this and let's see if it changes. As you can see we have hello world because it manipulates this tag right over here. So let me just push this right over here and this browser right over here, so that we can have control over both of these. And let me also close the terminal because we don't need it, and also zoom in order to have a better view for you. Okay, there we go. That's good for now. Also, let's try seeing what happens when we comment this part. So let me comment this JavaScript code right over here and save the code. As you can see, we have this is a tag and we don't have hello world. So once we uncomment this and save this, you'll be able to see the hello world. Also, for the get elements, we have the tag. So we can get this element by tag, but we cannot manipulate this. So here, let me go to another line, and here I can write, for example, console.log, and then here I can run document dot get element by ID, get element by tag name actually. So, and then we should have p tag instead of the apostrophes. And now let's see what the browser gives us. So here, as you can see, it has printed out the p tag, which is which says that it is the p tag ID, my ID, and then other properties of it. So you can see every one of the properties. It's a very long list, and that is how we can use this in order to get the p tag. We also have other different kinds of the document.get element. So notice that if you want to get it by the class name, so for example, imagine that we have a class instead of our HTML code, and here instead of our tag we should instead of ID we should, for example, write the class. So for example, class equals to for example, my class right over here. And then here instead of the by tag name I can write by class name. So by class name, and then here I can write the name of the class, which is my class, and there we go. So if there's no problem, I can save the code, and as you can see, we've got the p tag right over here printed out inside of the console. So what is the benefit of using these methods? You might say that is it just for logging to the console, but the answer is no. We can use this in order to, for example, use them in order to put them inside of the ID of another HTML, which I'm gonna get to that in just a bit. Now imagine that we have another p tag with an ID. So here I'm gonna write this one, this p tag, and then I'm going to use ID, and then I'm gonna call this my ID, and then I'm gonna close the p tag. But this one has nothing inside of this. So here we can change this to hello world, and so here what I'm gonna do is to use for example, instead of this console.log, and here instead of the ID, so let me cut this one and uncomment this line as well, and then here I can use this class, the hello world, right over here for the inner HTML of this one right over here. So we will have two hello worlds. So let's save this, and then here we seem to have a problem. So the first one is the hello world, but the second one is object HTML collection. So let's see how we can solve this. Document.get elements by ID. So what it does is actually it gives us the object, not what it's written inside of this. So in order to get what is inside of this, we should also add something else, and that is .inner HTML, just the way we had for the ID. So inner HTML. So let's save this, and then also we need to add something else. So if it's an array, this is the first item of the array. So as you can see, it shows now hello world to us. So the reason we use this one, we iterate through an array. However, we have one p tag with this class name, is that there is a chance that we have other p tags with this specific class name, and then because we're gonna need to do this, we'll also have this iterating through an array for keeping everything safe. So we need to iterate through the array and determine which one we want, because here this is only one p tag with this class name. We will only have one of them, and then we will get into the inner HTML in order to see what is written inside of this, and then we will make it equal to this one. Actually, you might say, what is the purpose of this? We can easily write hello world, but in more complex examples, you will be able to see that it is really important, and we might need to do something useful out of this. So that's it for this part of the tutorial. And in the next parts, we're going to work with a lot of other different various kinds of DOMs and see how they work.